Hello everyone, it's Silvia from Fairy Tarot. Welcome to my channel. I'm a bit overwhelmed today because, as you can see, I have so many new decks that just came into my collection. Some of them I have bought overseas while I was still overseas. I have just got back. I'm probably still jet lagged, but I'm doing this. Some of them were waiting for me at home when I got back. Some of them have been sent by the creator themselves. There's a bit of everything really. I am so excited, but I'm also a bit worried that either it's going to be a really long video or I'm going to have to split it in two, but we're going to just roll with it and see what happens. And I'll do my best, just fit it in one video, but I also want to take my time talking about the decks because I've got some real gems in here today, let me tell you. So let's start. Okay, so this one I am super excited about because this one has been sent as a gift by Sunshine Connolly, the one and only. You will know her because I talk about her all the time in my channel. Her deck is absolutely fantastic, wonderful, amazing, with such depth and really an attention to details, but also let's not talk about the deck, you know, because I've been talking about the deck all the time. And so much so that she actually reached out to me and she said, look, I thank you so much for, you know, talking about my deck. I'm talking, the deck is the Soul Mirror Oracle, and you'll know that because I use the Soul Mirror practically every day. I love it so much because it gives us the possibility to work with shadow and light. And it's also really beautiful. And so she reached out to me. She said, thank you so much for being so kind and appreciative towards my deck. And so she sent me a package, and I don't even know what's inside, so I'm very excited. This is literally an unboxing, and there's, my goodness, oh my goodness, look at this beauty. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've got two journals. Yes, we've got two journals, and we've got an additional deck. There you go. So that's the Soul Mirror. It's still wrapped. So she sent me, oh, she's so lovely. She sent me two journals. I think that these are so very new. And you know, and there's a really beautiful hand of Hansa with a message that I'm not going to read because it is personal. But yes, I'm so excited and so grateful. Because, you know, I don't expect this. I mean, when I love a deck as much as I love the Soul Mirror, I feel like talking about it all the time, and I use it all the time. And because it pairs up really well with the FME and the True Black by the same author, Arthur Wang. So this deck is just absolutely superb with those two, the FME Tarot and the True Black Tarot, but also with the, I think, with the Solara Occulto Migliora, which is the latest edition of the very famous Solara Occulto. When I love a deck so much, I don't expect the authors, you know, the creators to reach out to me and thank me and even send me a gift. But when it does happen, it is so very amazing because it just confirms my intention. My intention is basically to be here to just try and create this kind of bond within the tarot community and create meaningful relationships, meaningful connections between us all. So I now remember, so Sunshine reached out to me and she said she was going to send the journals as soon as they were ready, an additional deck. I believe this is the Getting Difficult to Find. As a matter of fact, I gifted it to some of my friends, and it's an amazing deck. It's really an amazing deck. I've been talking about this deck for months already. I just love it so much. And now this is completely new to me. See Yourself Soul Mirror Journal. So we got the same image. Now I don't want to open this. Sunshine was saying that I can send the journal and the additional deck to anyone I want. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to organize a giveaway. So this giveaway is open to my subscribers only. So if you're a subscriber, I will say please put a comment in this video if you want to access the possibility to get these two together. And please put a comment on why you like the Soul Mirror Oracle. So let's do it this way. I'm totally improvising here, but yes, this is officially a giveaway. So please leave a comment on why do you like the Soul Mirror Oracle, and I will do I will sort out how to pick a name. But let's see. Today, so the day in which I will be posting this video will be the 28th of February. Let's give it 2 weeks, so by mid-March, let's say, I will pick a winner. I don't want to open this one, so what I'm going to do for now, I'm just going to open the copy of the journal that I'm going to keep for myself, because I love journaling, as you probably know, because I'm actually I found the courage, if you can believe it, to show you my journal, my journaling, which is very awkward, very cringeworthy for me, because I'm not the kind of person that is good at journaling, but I've been doing that all my life. And I do work with tarot a lot when I do journaling. I do work with tarot and journaling a lot when I do all of my work with my Sunlight and Starlight members, the membership of my program. We're doing a lot of journaling together, and you have the possibility to send me your reflection on the carpools, and we have this really nice conversation with a few of you, so it's absolutely magnificent. I am loving this journal, may I say. It's a fantastic size. So just to give you an example, what could I give you as example? Probably an A5. Let me just show you an A5. Okay, so this is my Hobonichi. It's an A5. Sorry, this is my Any Day now, but I put it in a cover for the Hobonichi. Is it the Techo Cousin? I think so, but in any case, this is an A5, so it's slightly bigger, as you can see. Sorry, I can't really compare it because I don't want to compare the cover, so let's do it like this. So it looks like it's a fair bit, let's say, wider and also taller than an A5, and it's a fantastic production, really beautiful. Blue Angel has really sorted things out with their production. I think that the decks that they release lately are so beautiful. The cardstock is absolutely phenomenal. So this one, we've got some embossing, so the words Soul Mirror Journal and See Yourself are embossed. It's a very silky feel. It's very nice when you go for the tactile sensation. This is also, this writing on the back is also embossed, so it says, Soul Mirror Journal, see yourself, evolution and healing through divine reflection. Self-reflection is an active, ongoing and profound journey to the far reaches of your being. Within its light, you are launched into the understanding that we are all divine, all creators and all connected. Embark on your journaling odyssey as an homage to healing, truth and wholeness. With lined and unlined pages to encourage free expression, this is a unique space of personal recovery and discovery. The gentle wisdom and soulful imagery will guide, nurture, and inspire as you untangle the past, embrace your shadows, and welcome exquisite revelation. Every inner knot you unravel is an opportunity to reweave the shining threads of your most authentic, ever-evolving self. And within every treasured moment of this process, you elevate your tremendous ability to co-create your reality. Glorious, absolutely wonderful. So again, the copyright is by Sunshine Connolly, and the artwork is again by Anna Noves, which is the same duo that gave us the deck. And this is also, as you notice, the image that is on the cover, on the box, let's say, of the deck. So I'm expecting, I know I know all the images by now of the deck, and I see the images here. So I just wonder whether there's new images. It would be nice to know. So what is mirroring? And it talks about mirroring as a form of self-reflection, fast-tracked by seeing your wounds and lessons reflected by the external world. I love this deck so much because I really believe in the concept of mirroring. And when it's an act that is conscious and done by looking at your own soul, I think that the results are necessarily life-changing, in the sense that you cannot really remain the same person. You know what I mean? Maybe you can if you're going through some tough stuff and you don't feel like it's the right time to evolve. But I still believe that it's the healing action is also very strong. So, even if you are going through something really tough, you will be profiting, you will be receiving the benefits out of using the deck. And I'm thinking also journaling with the deck and the journal, because it does give you that possibility. As I was saying in the back, there are lined, as you can see, and unlined pages. I personally love the unlined pages, the free space that they give me. First and foremost, because I never really liked to write within the lines. I'm not very good at that, and it doesn't really look good. So if you're like me, sometimes I change the size of my writing. Sometimes I like to write big, sometimes I just write very small. It doesn't matter. The one thing that I do believe in is using really anything that you have in your possession to just be honest. Okay, if your honesty comes to you through, I don't know, drawing something, for example, if you're more of an artist than a writer, absolutely go for it. I believe you can definitely use the non-lined pages, because it gives you the opportunity to use the entire page without restrictions. If you love writing, then you have plenty of lined pages for that. There's also, all of these prompts, for example, every couple of pages. I'm just going to read a couple of these. So, in what ways do external noise and distractions dilute my connection with my intuition? How does following my intuition lead to clarity and divine guidance? So obviously you can choose to respond to the prompts and use them in your journaling or your drawings, but you can also choose to write whatever it is that you feel at that moment in time. I personally do a bit of both when I do journaling. I do like to be given some prompts in the form of questions. This is probably one of my favorite cards. It's just so beautiful. But I also like to be free to just let my hand, keep on writing. So it's an amazing way to express yourself, because you can stay honest. It's yours. This is not going to be seen by anyone else unless you actually allow them to, like you particularly trust someone and you allow them into your personal space, but that's your choice. And that's a wonderful thing when you can actually do that. Wow, I mean, keep that person close, because, if you trust someone that much, it means that you really, really, you love them, basically. Amazing. The product value is fantastic. I love the fact that it's got this kind of folded cover, and it's printed. The pages are printed with the same, very, very faithful to the drawings and to the colors utilized in the cards. It feels like a very let's say textured kind of paper. I'm not entirely sure that it's fountain pen friendly. I am going to film a stationery tarot slash stationery related video in the next couple of weeks. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually gonna try the paper with my different fountain pens, and I will be able to tell you whether it's fountain pen friendly or not. But that is not gonna change anything about what I think about this deck and this journal. If it's not, just in case it's not fountain pen friendly, I have other pens that I can try. And you know what? It's not a requirement, as a matter of fact. I think that this is so beautiful by itself. I would love to use it with my fountain pens, but if I cannot, it's not a big deal. So I believe this is currently available. Probably also on Amazon, but definitely on the Blue Angel website. In any case, for all of these items, the ones that are available, I will make sure to put the link in the description box below, just in case you want to check them out or you want to purchase them. And let's have a quick look at the deck. Even though I use this deck and I show it on my channel and Instagram so much that I'm pretty sure you've seen it all so many times. It's got a fantastic guidebook as well, and you know, it really gives you the possibility to do that kind of, let's say, bifocal, that kind of work that is actually focusing on two different things at the same time, thanks to the same prompt and image, simply because it is orchestrated in such a way that, let's say, for example, gratitude can be ungrateful or appreciative. Or, for example, you know, child could be careless and receptive. Whatever you feel, it's not something that is representing you for your entirety or your entire human existence. It's something that is actually a snapshot in time for me. So sometimes knowledge could be ignorant or knowing. Why? Because sometimes knowledge can give us the impression of not needing any further, for example, studies. And so it will make us ignorant, because by precluding ourselves the possibility to actually go deeper on a subject, we miss out on so much and we eventually become ignorant. So we ignore the additional layers that we could have known about a subject. But it can also be referring to knowing. So instead of precluding ourselves to the additional layers, we actually decide to do this study. You now know how this works. I'm sure you've seen me using this deck many times before. I just want to show you, just in case this is your first time on my channel, hi, welcome, or this is the first time you see this deck. It is absolutely gorgeous, really gorgeous. These are the backs. They're not reversible, but the thing is that technically speaking, you don't need to reverse it, because you do need to do shadow and light work when you use this deck. It is the most complete way to use it, so I would highly recommend it. There's so much you can do with this. It's just really fantastic. It is, by the way, gold gilded, but it's the kind of gold gilding that is matte. Doesn't scratch your fingers when you use it. It is a very unusual size and format, I have to say, when it comes to Blue Angel products. It's halfway, I would say, between an oracle and a tarot deck. I actually really like it. It's easier to manage, to handle at least. And the artwork is just absolutely gorgeous. So the power that these cards, the keywords especially, have, it really is something magnificent. It really gives you the opportunity to do a lot of work on yourself. And it doesn't always have to be an improvement. Sometimes you just want to be with your deck, a deck you love, because you just had a bad day and you just want to look at the cards and you just want to feel the feelings. You know, relationships, distant or connected, devotion, indifferent or passionate. And you just want to find yourself leaning towards one or the other and understanding what that means to you, and going to look for the references in the guidebook, for example, and read the fantastic words. I really highly recommend this deck. If you haven't noticed yet, I absolutely love this deck. Again, as I said, will be the object of a this is my copy, so this is not going anywhere. But the new one, the wrapped up one, will be a giveaway to my subscribers only. So please, if you're not a subscriber, you want to participate, subscribe to my channel, drop a line in the comments below telling me why you like the Soul Mirror Oracle, and I will do a I will pick a winner. Let's give it a couple of weeks, but I will tell you more details. I'm literally improvising right now, so obviously haven't thought this through, but you know how these things work, so it's not that difficult to work them out. So the next one, I have so many, it's making me dizzy, seriously. But okay, let's go with this one. So this one, actually these three, let's put it this way, because I have been to Ireland. I'm trying to pronounce it the right way. If there's any Irish in there, hi, I love your country. I literally fell in love with Ireland. I'm trying to pronounce the words the right way. I'm really trying hard. It's not an easy accent for me to reproduce, but it is lovely to listen to it. Oh my goodness, I just loved it so much. We traveled a lot. We went to several different places with my husband, whose ancestors are from Ireland. And so, you know, we really looked at the country and we thought, can we see ourselves living here? You know, and it's you know, it's a long shot, but maybe one day. I definitely want to go back to Europe, maybe one day. So I went to a shop, and it's called the Dervish, and it's a bookstore and it's a metaphysical store, and I had a lovely conversation with Orla about tarot and oracle decks and the tradition of tarot in Ireland. But we also touched on a few subjects, for example, paganism, Celtic origins of the country, because you know that the country has been it has been invaded, so the history tells about an invasion. But obviously there were different elements to those invasions. But we're talking about the Vikings on the one hand. I believe it was in 795 that they were actually pushed away, and the Celts as well. So we do have a lot of let's say symbolism related to let's say Nordic culture and Celtic culture. And I don't know if you noticed, but today I've got a lot of these symbols, the Yggdrasil, the Celtic tree of life, and we got the Celtic cross, and we got other symbols in here, because I absolutely love symbols. There's no two ways around that. Whenever I see them, I have to buy them. So these three decks, I got them. So this bookstore, the Dervish, has got a magnificent collection, and I'm going to show you the footage. It's actually amazing. I think that 99% of those decks are mass market decks. They're all genuine, no fakes there. It's sad that I have to say that, but I love to say that. I love when I see a place selling, you know, real decks and not the counterfeit ones. Thank you so much for that. You think that it's a given, but it isn't. Because other shops, they just do it the easy way, and they sell decks for $5, and guess what? Because they're fakes. Anyway, I got these three. I think I almost had a heart attack when I saw the Sacred World Oracle by Chris Balder. She's also the creator of the Goddess Tarot. Is it called the Goddess Tarot? You will forgive me, it's probably not the complete title. It's a really beautiful deck by US Games, I think, and also this one is by US Games. So I could be completely wrong, but it's not that easy to find this deck, especially in Australia. I actually had a look, and I could only find used copies. And so this is, as I said, it's a huge unboxing, so brace yourself, gotta be a long video. I'm just trying to do the unboxing without hurting myself, but most importantly, without hurting the deck. And I really apologize for what I'm saying today, because I have been traveling for, let me just count that quickly, 48 hours. Yeah, that would be it, 48 hours. So I'm tired, to say the least. And as you will know, 25, so out of those 48 hours, there were at least full 25.5, 25 and a half hours in a plane, so inside a plane. I'm used to it. I'm used to it. If you live in Australia and you want to get out of the country, you have to get used to it. There's no two ways around that. But that doesn't make it any easier. Anyway, so as I was saying, I'm apologizing for if I'm saying something weird, if I sound weird today. I'm not on anything, I'm not high, but I am really tired. But I really wanted to show you all of these really beautiful things. So these two, let me just quickly talk about these two, created by Dr. Karen Ward and Bernie Sexton. These are two lovely Irish ladies. I think they live not far from Dublin, but then again, Ireland is not extremely big, so I'm guessing everything is not far from Dublin. But they do have a website, so I will make sure to put the website in the description box below. I'm not entirely sure you can actually find these decks on Amazon. But you will be able to find them on that website, and I'm pretty sure that they actually ship internationally. So the reason why I got both of these decks is because they pair up really well and they're really beautiful. And actually, I want to show them to you by pairing them up with the Sacred World Oracle. So these two are really Celtic, as you can see. Obviously, we talk about Bridget or Bridget. Again, my apologies. I call it Bridget, but I could be completely wrong. So please let me know if it's Bridget with the soft G or Bridget with the hard G. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's because in Italian we call it Brigitta. So obviously it's the soft G that I'm used to. So I got these two because there is this very strong, let's say, Celtic symbolism. And then I got this one because I was talking to a very lovely bus driver, and I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying his name. Is Richard O'Brien from Paddy Wagon. If you're in Ireland, make sure you take a tour with Richard. He's the most amazing person, the most amazing tour guide slash bus driver. I was laughing so hard, I was actually hurting, and I'm not even kidding. We had a wonderful day. Unfortunately, it was just one day. We took two tours with them. I would have loved to have him as for the other tour as well. But I consider myself lucky that I was able to spend 12-13 hours with this wonderful person and laughing at all of these jokes. But we also talked about really heavy stuff because we went to Belfast. We talked about a lot of you know, human facts, whatever happened in humans' history. But there was also, and that's very Irish to me, and I'm apologizing again if that's not correct, but my take on Ireland is that there is a lot of suffering, but there's also a lot of laughter. And that laughter is to cheer yourself up and to cheer everyone around you up as well. Because you have to go through it. You have to, you know, you have to power through. And in order to power through, you just, sometimes you use laughter. And I love that. I love that culture. It's pretty much what we do in my region as well from Italy. Anyway, so without much further ado, I'm just going to show you the three decks by pairing all up together. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to actually open the decks. And I also realized that I probably lost my train of thoughts there. So I was saying that the reason why I like to pair up the Sacred World Oracle with the Bridget Oracle and the Celtic Moon one is because I do believe that the Sacred World has got a very fairy-like energy, even though, to be honest with you, I don't see fairies. Not necessarily. It's more like symbols, archetypes from all over the world, but it does have a kind of a fairy-like energy. That's my feeling. Well, we do see a lot of Celtic symbols, or at least a suggestion, I would say, of Celtic symbols. It's a really beautiful deck, very beautiful. And obviously, you know, unless you're very familiar with the animals depicted on the cards, you would probably have to go back and forth between the card and the guidebook. But as you know, if you watch my channel, you know that I'm a strong supporter of reading the guidebooks. Even if it's a tarot deck and you know tarot, you know everything there is to know about tarot. I don't think there's anyone in the world that knows everything there is to know about tarot. Maybe Benabel, and you know Rachel, before she passed, obviously. But in any case, I believe that most of us, poor common people, we still have to, you know, admit to ourselves that there's always something to learn. So this one gives me a lot of fairy-like energies, and I was told by the really extraordinary bus driver slash tour guide, Richard, that in Ireland they still believe in fairies. They believe in fairies. And so, you know, there is a little bit of humor in that too, in the sense that obviously you may think of the leprechaun, for example. If you go to Ireland, you'll see that there's a lot of bars but also, you know, objects dedicated to leprechauns, and all of the legends, all of the songs, and all of the lullabies for the kids, you know, are sent into this really, really whimsical figure. But in any case, let me just show you these decks together. So, as I was saying, there is this kind of energy that really exudes from all three of these. Obviously, these two are made by the same authors, by the same creators, so of course the energies will be very similar. And that's the reason why I've chosen this kind of display to show you the cards, because I believe that this deck in the center can give you some sort of a focus as an oracle or an archetype. The archetype of the energy in this case, not the archetype of a person. You know, there's various types of archetypes, and so obviously when we refer to human nature, there's fantastic oracles like, well, King Crance's archetypes oracle is very nice, but there's other decks as well that I like to use. But this is, to me, is the archetype of energies. Obviously, we see the element of air. So, you know, the power of the mind that is embodied in the essence of air. Between the harvest moon with happiness and the hermit and bishop partnership. So obviously we see this kind of conversation that takes place between the decks, especially between these two, obviously because the aesthetics are very similar, but also because this one can give you that prompt, that idea, that initial breath of life, and then after that you can really build on this, and you can journal on that, you can meditate on that, you can also do a reading. I will probably, in that case, I will probably take you know, the creator Chris's tarot deck and use that as well. Perhaps if you have it, you could probably use it in here, you know, so you have 4 decks at the end that you can use. But it's a very beautiful combination as it is. This is a really strong card, by the way. At the beginning I asked myself if I wanted to remove it from the deck, but then again, it's not up to me to do so. I don't believe that it's up to me to do so. And, you know, there are a lot of really confronting cards sometimes in a deck, and we need to be able to understand why they are confronting for us. Perhaps do some journaling on that, and perhaps not. It all depends on where we are in our journey. So I really love the sense of peace, for example, is suggested by the dove, the figure and the archetype of the dove, between the rhythms, because we've got the crescent moon, and also the strength of the oak. So this is really beautiful, because there is strength and rhythm in peace. It is reflecting of all of these words. So absolutely in love with these 3 decks, and these are the decks that I bought at the Dervish bookstore or metaphysical store in Dublin. and I had this lovely conversation. And now the thing is that I always ask, whenever I do my episodes of Tarot on Tour, I always ask anyone who's working in these shops, what do they think has changed, you know, between the pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, and the post-pandemic? Because I really have the feeling that pre-pandemic there was an interest in tarot and oracle, but it was mostly for personal growth. And now you see there's a lot of return to divination, but there's a lot of return also to try and get back control of our lives. And there's a lot of people who achieve that through the use of tarot, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's something that we're actually working on with my Starlight members in my membership program. We're actually working on some kind of a using, you know, a practice that looks at tarot and use tarot to heal those wounds that we end up accumulating, unfortunately, throughout our lifetimes. So these three, as I said, the Celtic Moon, the Brigid Oracle, and the Sacred World Oracle. But now I want to talk about this deck, and I'm so very excited about this deck. It's something that it's so beautiful, and the story behind it is so beautiful as well. So this deck was sent to me. Let me just, you know, let's take it step by step. Which one is this deck? First of all, it's a deck that is called, it's an oracle deck, and it's called the Oracle Magicus. Now this is a French deck, as you probably understand, because I pronounced it the French way. This was sent to me by the creator of the deck, the wonderful Iris Elinac. Apologies if I don't pronounce it correctly. I did some studies on how to pronounce the name correctly, and I hope that it's okay. In any case, it is. If you're watching this video, please let me know. I will make sure to put the website in the description box below. So Iris is actually wonderful. She's contacted me on Instagram. And she said, look, I like your page on Instagram, and I like your channel on YouTube. And I want to send you a deck. And I'm always like, oh, it makes me a bit giddy, you know, it makes me so happy because, as I said before when I was talking about the Soul Mirror Oracle, I love the decks that I talk about, the decks that I present. I don't expect anything from the creators. I don't even, to be honest with you, don't even expect them to watch my videos. When it does happen, it makes me really happy. Not because of personal satisfaction, but because it means that my original, the reason why I'm here, the reason why I'm doing these videos is because I do want to create these meaningful connections. And meaningful connections can be between tarot readers, between the tarot community, but also between readers, collectors, and the creators themselves. And I actually believe that it's even more important that we establish this kind of really meaningful bond with the creators, because on the one hand, it's a win-win situation. We establish this bond and we get more insights from the creator themselves on their creations, on their decks. And so that gives us additional layers of interpretation. And that's the reason why I always recommend reading the guidebooks. Even if it's a tarot deck, even if you know everything about it, it doesn't matter. Please read it. Because it may just give you the creator's perspective on the deck. But it's also because it's beautiful to read the way in which people express themselves. I mean, I'm a writer myself, and I love reading what others write because, you know, sometimes I confront myself with the way in which others write a sentence, for example, their style, the way in which they convey feelings, the way in which they do the showing and not the telling. You know, if you're a writer, you understand what I'm talking about. Always show, never tell, because if you have to tell, it means that your power of describing a scene is not strong enough. As readers, we want to be shocked, or we want to be pampered, we want to feel. Okay, so always read the guidebook, please. Do yourself a favor. You may find some really, really good ones. And what was I saying? So it's absolutely wonderful to get in touch with the creators of a deck, because it really gives you that wonderful opportunity to understand why they started making decks, or one particular deck, or one particular theme deck. And so has a talent. It's a wonderful talent. And when I received a message, I was so very happy because I knew already her decks. But I went on her, I believe I went first on her Etsy page and then on her website. And I had a look and I was thinking to myself, can I have all of them, please? Because I like them so much. And I said, look, I love all of them, and because she wanted to know which one, I wanted her to send to me. And by the way, she also sent this bag, which is really soft to the touch, with the symbol, which is the same symbol that we may find here, for example, and also in the bookmark in here, which is really beautiful by the way. Tout objet aimé est le centre d'un paradis, by Novali. So every loved object, every loved thing or item is the center of a paradise. So as I was saying, it comes with a really beautiful bag and a guidebook, and as I was saying before, please read all of the guidebooks. What we've got here is a really beautiful description of all of the cards in this particular oracle, so the Oracle Magicus. We've got a certificate of authenticity, of course, being sent by the creator. I wasn't expecting a fake, obviously, so I'm very pleased that it comes also with the certificate of authenticity. And then we got a really amazing deck. So it's got 45 cards. So it's a really excellent number, because let me tell you, I always talk about how decks by Los Scarabeo, sometimes they just sell you decks with 32, 33 cards. It's just too little, and it's also because, generally speaking, readers and also collectors to a certain extent, we actually want to see more of a work of art. I mean, why would you have to limit something beautiful in numbers? So I believe that the perfect number is anything above 44, and personally I think below 78. But that's just a personal preference, and of course you may want an oracle deck with 200 cards, fair enough. I do believe that when it's too big, for example, the Color Mage for me, with the expansion, is too big. 217 cards, I believe it's got. So 45 is perfect, absolutely perfect. Now this one is a photographic collage, as you can see, really well done, by the way. Having been working in photography for many years, I can assure you, I can spot when something is not well done, when the exposure is not right, but also when it comes to the collage or the digital work, then it's done on the cards. I can assure you it's actually done really well. I absolutely love the fact that there are splashes of colors, as you can see here and there, and this reminds me so much of other decks that I've got, and I really can't wait to be able to pair this up, for example, with the Rosebud Tarot, which I really believe will pair up really well with this one, but also with another deck which is actually quite recent in my collection, which is called the Nightweight Tarot deck. So we're going to look at pairings later on, but I just wanted to show you these really beautiful cards. By the way, the card stock is phenomenal. This is what you want in a deck. It's durable, it's sturdy, it's still flexible. It gives you the idea that if you want, you can use it a lot, but it's also really beautiful. And if you're a collector and you don't want to use your decks, you still have a really nice feeling, tactile feel out of the cards. So who do we, obviously it's called the Oracle Magicus. So Magicus is the magician, let's say. So obviously we're looking at historical figures that are, let's say, part of this wonderful world of magicians. John Dee, but we also have Dracula, for example, Faust, Freya, Genghis Khan, Hecate, Hermes Trismegistus, which is the father of alchemy. Hildegarda the Benson. Now Isis. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the cards. As you can see, these are the protagonists, and they this is Edgar Allan Poe, I believe. So these are the protagonists of the cards, a la carte deck, and it was a famous medium, if I remember correctly. I seem to remember there was a really famous medium. It looks like it from the illustration on the card as well. And then we're just gonna have a look at, we're just gonna have one pull, and we're gonna look at the guidebook description for that particular card, and then I really want to show you the pairings, because if you watch my channel, you'll know this is what I do pairings. I love it. So really, really beautiful cards. Nostradamus, hello there. Odin, of course. Paracelsus. So, okay, it's a French deck, so obviously, let me just do what Marine from The Waves of Your Soul does. So in her beautiful videos about French decks, she actually compares them to the level of, looking at the level of difficulty in understanding of the deck itself. She compares them to either, I think is Cocorico, Croissant, and the French flag. So the French flag is probably the most difficult deck to understand. The Cocorico is the easiest one, and the Croissant is a kind of a medium level. I would say that this is a Croissant in the sense that well, the names of the protagonists on the card are, you know, it's easy. I mean, the names are the names, so Thoth is Thoth, Rasputin is Rasputin. They may, in some cases, be Ras Salomon, for example, is King Solomon, but it wouldn't distract you. You would not lose your way when using the deck if the name King is actually written in French. What I mean is it's very easy once you look at the names on the card to actually remind yourself of who this person was, or deity. And when we look at the keywords, I have to say, as an English speaker, I have absolutely no problem. I do speak French as well, but let's say if I did not, I would still didn't have any problem in understanding what the words are. In a case, we're talking about keywords. There's 3 keywords per card, so I reckon even a Google Translate would definitely give you the possibility to use this deck without much trouble. So what I'm going to do, I am just going to shuffle it, and then we're gonna do a card pull. We're gonna look at the guidebook for that particular card, but then, because I'm really dying for it, I'm just gonna show you the pairings that I already have in mind. And obviously I'm thinking this will pair up really well with the Muses, the Meta Muses, sorry, the Meta Muses Tarot deck, which I don't have because my copy had a typo on the Emperor card, and that really drove me insane because I have OCD. if you know, you know. And so I had to rehome it because it made me very uncomfortable. I don't know whether the typo has been corrected. I believe it may have been corrected already. It's a beautiful deck. Anyway, let's see. Shuffles really well, by the way. And it's a very easy to handle size. It's an oracle deck, but it doesn't have that particular really wide kind of format. It's more similar to a tarot deck format, even though it is slightly taller and slightly wider. So let's see. Let me just pick a card, and then we're just gonna read from the guidebook. I'm just gonna pick this one here, and it's actually card number 1. No, yes, card number 1 with Arachne. Now I have to say, so if you watch my channel, you will know that I don't have a particularly loving relationship with spiders. Let's put it this way. However, living in Australia, it taught me a lot of things. First of all, I taught myself how to recognize a venomous spider from a non-venomous one, and even amongst the venomous one, I taught myself to recognize the ones that kill you and the ones that make you really, really sick. Now, not that you should fraternize to the ones that make you really, really sick, only because they don't kill you, because I can assure you that there's one which is called the white tail, that Australians would normally go, yeah, it's okay, it's harmless. It's not. It leaves a hole like this if it bites you, you know, in your flesh, a hole like this. I've seen it with my own eyes, not on my flesh, thank goodness. It was a friend of mine. But yeah, that's what Australians, you know, that's harmless, but it's not. It actually also gives you some liver problems. In any case, this is a redback. Now, redback spiders are venomous. They're actually, let me put it this way, if it's an adult female, it is, you really need to get to a hospital, and they will definitely give you an antidote. They need to monitor you. We haven't had deaths by redbacks in decades, but let's say you really don't want to try your luck with this one. But it is also really beautiful. You know, it's the kind of beauty that comes with a side of horror as well. So I love the fact there is an Australian spider, you know, in this card to talk about arachne. So let's have a look at the book and what it says about this card. So we put it here and we go to the first one, number 1, arachne. Okay, so this card talks about let's say traps. So it says this card indicates of paying attention, encourages you to pay attention to a trap that could be there without us even perceiving it. Traps, the most efficient traps are the ones, are the most discreet ones, because we are not, we're not paying attention to them, we're not aware, let's say, of them. To lead us to a trap, there must be something that attracts us, that you know, lures us to a trap. It may be a beautiful promise, a nice illusion, or a present that we really hope for. And it's thanks to this luring that we fall for this trap. So instead of running towards it, it would be better to look where we're going rather than taking the risk of having fallen into a trap that has been made just for us. So this is I think it's very insightful, because the concept here is that when we're caught off guard, it's the worst moment at all for us, because we're fragile, we're vulnerable, and we may not pay attention as much as we should to these traps that may have been conceived for ourselves. And I do feel the strong reference also to some kind of subconscious trap. I believe that there's something that needs to be said about the traps that we actually set up for ourselves as well. In many, many cases, we are the ones that lead ourselves into that 8 of Swords, just to do a reference to the tarot. It is a really beautiful card. I believe it's a very beautiful way to look at this subject, to look at the concept and the essence of a trap. So the cage of our own making. I'm adding the of our own making. It could be a cage that has been made by someone else just for us. But there is something to say about that. If it is a cage that has been made just for us, this person must know us just as much as we know ourselves. Because there's no way that someone else can actually do that. And most of the time it is us that we just put ourselves in these kind of situations. I really like the opportunity that this card gives me of doing a lot of introspective work. And I already feel like I want to do a lot of journaling because of the prompts that have been given by, you know, the suggestion of looking at the card this way. So now, without much further ado, I really want to show you this deck pair up with a couple of tarot decks. So let me just shuffle this quickly once more, and then we'll have a look at the pairings. Okay, so as always, we're just gonna put the oracle in the center, and then for now I'm just gonna show you the pairing with the Rosebud Tarot, which is really one of my favorites, and I really do believe that these two will have a lot of things to say to each other. So let's have a look. Okay, I really like it. Can you feel the atmosphere? It's lovely. It's the fact that, okay, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that they are aesthetically pleasing together, because first of all, there is the same kind of collage in the sense that we do have black and white figures in the cards of the tarot as well as the oracle, but we also have splashes of colors, you know, in the same way. But it's also because the figures are actually very, very similar when it comes to the style. So not just the fact that they're in black and white, but also the style is very similar. And I really do believe that even though, for example, let's look at the borders. I know that the Rosebud Tarot's got borders and the Oracle Magicus does not. However, in this case, I really do believe that the borders of the Rosebud Tarot are actually functional to just frame the cards, the images on the cards. So they're not making a statement. It's not a statement kind of border. This is just a border, you know, to just give you a real estate to look at. And the fact that we have a borderless card when it comes to the oracle, which would be my preference in any case, but it's nice to pair up borderless and border with, because it also gives you some kind of a limit. Like it's the borders on the tarot also act as if they were a border, like a frame on the oracle as well. Or that's, at least that's what I feel by looking at these cards and just flipping them, you know, through like that. And I really, really like the atmosphere. I like the conversation that these two are having together. There are definitely bridges, not just created by the fact that the aesthetics are very similar and pleasing together, but also because we can definitely see this kind of conversation, the meanings of the card, the essence. We want to focus with this one, for example, on la voisin, so poison, preoccupation and negativity, with the 6 of earth and the 7 of fire. So there's a lot going on here. We've got preoccupation, negativity. The 6 of earth in many cases is the card of charity, is the card of giving and receiving, but it's also the card that actually tells us that we need to compare ourselves to others. So there could be that kind of preoccupation that comes because we are forced to see ourselves inside a society. And when it comes to the suit of the earth, for example, it is a society that definitely takes, you know, it counts everything. Have you noticed? Everything is being counted constantly. Everything is being numbered. So it's not just our essence, it's not just material and spiritual, but it's composed of numbers. And that's, to me personally, that's a bit scary, because I don't want to be seen as a number in any way, even if it's just a part of myself. But the 6 of earth really invites you to see yourself as part of the cycle of giving and receiving, but it's also a cycle of looking at what you've got and what others have got, and doing that kind of bridging between the two. So there can be that kind of preoccupation. I definitely see that kind of preoccupation in the 6 of the earth. If you then look at the 7 of fire combined with this reading, you will see how much more we are actually in that kind of territory of anxiety and preoccupation. Because the 7 of fire is the card of sticking to your own guns because everyone else is against you. And they are convinced that you're wrong, but you're convinced that you're right. Really beautiful pairing. You see, whenever I have this feeling, when I pair a tarot and an oracle decks, and I have this conversation going on, and I can listen to it, and I can listen to the message, and I can try and understand what the message is. What are the cards asking me to focus on? what is this kind of revelation that is coming to me, this epiphany, that is very necessary, because as a reader, rather than anything else, that's what I need to do. That is literally my job, just to give this message. Once I understand it, I have to translate it and give it out to others. And so any kind of instrument that is helping me do so in a good way, and also, giving me a good time at the same time, because it's also really nice to have these kind of pairings. It makes me happy to do so. It's just a win-win situation, as I was saying before. Why not? Why not using Oracle and Tarot decks that go so well together? So let me just show you now with another deck that I think could pair up really well with the Oracle Magicus. And I've got it right here. And it's the Night Wait Tarot deck. As I said, it's a very recent acquisition by Michelle Nightwait. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the other cards at the bottom. So we have all the 45 cards of the Oracle. Now, this tarot deck is, I also bought it in Ireland, by the way, in a bookstore. It's, let's say, it's got a different layout. It feels that the borders in this case are kind of making a statement. So I'm kind of curious to see how it will pair up with this Oracle, which is borderless. However, I have to say that I don't actually mind it, because yes, we do have borders in the tarot, but the borders are within the card, and so what happens is that you can pretend not to notice them. Let's put it this way. And so after all, you could be seeing this tarot deck as borderless as well. And we still have this echoes and resonances that you can find between the cards, because we're still looking at black and white. This is Oscar Wilde, by the way. I found this deck in Ireland, obviously thinking about and reading Oscar Wilde's work of art. So we still have the black and white collage figures in the deck, in both the decks. But we still also have the splashes of colors, even though I have to say we do have more colors when it comes to the tarot deck. Really, really beautiful together. I mean, I like them so much. I don't even know which one I prefer. I think they really pair up well together. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, because there's a very strong conversation going on between these two decks as well. We've got, for example, let's have a look at this one. So, two aces and Merlin. Okay, Merlin with transformation, changing and mutation. But obviously, I mean, transformation. The aces are always indicating a new beginning, something, a new adventure that starts, depending on the alchemical essence of the suit. So we're looking at, in this case, we're looking at fire and air. So obviously we're thinking about transformation that is incorporating the body, but also the mind. It's a very complete kind of transformation, new beginning. Merlin was obviously a magician. It's quite famous from the King Arthur stories, for example. So we can think about that. But let me just see, because I liked, as I always say, I like reading the guidebooks. So this is number 29. And let's see what it says here. So Merlin, or Merlin in French, but Merlin. The card indicates that a profound, a deep transformation, and it's manifesting or is on the point of becoming visible, becoming apparent. In any case, it has already started. In order to proceed well in this changement, it's useful to visualize what we want to become and what direction we want to take, without forgetting, though, to accompany this renovation of the cells with patience and good intention, basically. And actually, it's more like care. So, this concept is about, obviously, we've seen it, transformation, and it is accompanied by two aces, which is a very strong way to You know, you have the moment in which you change things, but you also have the success, the following moment. So you have something that ceases, because transformation is always, from an alchemical point of view, is something that stops the status in which it's in, and then it moves on to the next status and it proceeds. So the art of transformation, or the science of transformation, is something that sees at the same time an ending but also a beginning. So I love the fact that we're already seeing the beginnings here, and it's already telling us what kind of elements we need to use in order to combine, or in order to read this kind of transformation. So obviously the element of fire with the body, but also the element of air with the mind. I have the feeling that these two together give me a more as above kind of energy, whereas when using the Rosebud Tarot, I got more like a so below kind of energy. But in any case, if you have these decks, let me know if you like this pairing, if you like reading them together, or if you have maybe this Oracle deck. Let me know if you like to pair it up with a different tarot deck, because I'm always open to suggestions, but I really, really love these together. It's unbelievable how beautiful they are, seriously. Fantastic. So I'm so very grateful to Iris for trusting me with sending me this deck of hers. The production is absolutely fantastic, as I said, and I will make sure to put her website in the description box below. I'm also looking forward to use this deck in many different ways. I have a couple of ideas, because obviously we can look at the keywords and referring to the guidebook, because we could also look at the names of the characters on the cards and perhaps refer them back to an archetype. So it could be a very good deck to study, for example, because it gives you the background story, which is obviously famous, let's say, because we're talking about Merlin, Nostradamus, Mephistopheles, Morgana, etc. But at the same time, it also gives you, let's say, one interpretation from the creator, but also the historical interpretation, or the mythical interpretation that you can gather from the studies you can make on your own. Very, very stoked about this deck. So as I said, the Oracle Magicus par Iris Elinak. So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit, because otherwise we're going to stay here for hours. Now, this one is a very unique deck. This was part of an exchange of decks that I had with a dear friend of mine from Italy. She's also into tarot, and basically I saw this deck. It's an Italian deck, and I saw that it was sold in a bookstore close to a place where she lives. Obviously I don't live in Italy, unfortunately, but I knew that I was going to go, so I asked her, could you please just go to the place and buy this for me before they ran out, because I've never seen it before. And she did. So I bought a couple of decks for her, so it was more or less the same amount of money. So that's, I really like to do this kind of things, because even though at the end you spend the same amount of money, it feels like it's a present, and so we exchanged the decks we had bought for each other, and I brought it back with me from Italy. So this is the Arcani Filosofici, or Philosophical Arcana. And as you can imagine, it's a very unique deck, because it's not a tarot deck, although we do have the arcanas, obviously, but it's a very unique take on the arcanas, and it's a very unique take on any kind of divination or meditation or something that we can do with the deck. Now, what happens is that obviously everything is in Italian, so it's by Francesco Disa and Alessia Dulbecco. It's by D Editore, and let's see, cover design, Emilio Battipaglia, editing. No, but I'm just trying to understand if the illustrations, it's probably both by Francesco Disa and Alessia Dulbecco. In any case, there's not that many cards, and it's, as you can see, it's not a huge deck. It is rather large in format when it comes to the size, but when it comes to the number of cards, it's not a complete deck. this is one of the reasons why, you know, I think it's very interesting, but I really want to study. And you will notice that, well, I have to say something about the cardstock immediately. So sorry, but I can't refrain to say something about it. When, note to any kind of publisher, please, when it's fantastic that you choose such a large format, absolutely fantastic, I'm not saying anything, but if you do, please think about the fact that cards will go like this all the time. You see that? This is going to bend it, this is going to damage the cards. They should be slightly thicker. I'm not saying super stiff, but at least slightly thicker, so that the deck will still be, you know, durable, will still be flexible at the same time. So there's a lot of archetypes here as well. Let me just go back to the beginning, or anyway. So we got Judgment, and then what we see, for example, Giudizio, Judgment. If you have any kind of Italian deck, you will know. What I like is that there's a sentence here, there's an image, which is very, very, well, minimalist, if I may say, as you can see. But then it is very interesting to read what the sentence is. So this in Italian goes like this: Anche il dolore è un giudizio sul mondo. And it says, pain too is judgment, is a judgment of the world, or on the world. So you can actually judge a, let's say, a life from the level of pain, from the suffering. And when I you know, by coincidence, this was one of the cards that I had seen on Instagram about this deck. I did not see all of the cards. This was one of the cards, and this one was one of the cards that I actually liked the most out of the ones that I've seen. Because I really do believe that you can definitely judge, you can judge a society, an entire society, by the level of suffering. And I'm sorry to say, there's a few countries that I visited recently when I was in Europe, where there's so many homeless people. You can judge, you can judge a society from the number of homeless. I know that it's extremely difficult. It's a very difficult problem to solve, but I have seen countries solving it. I have seen it. I've seen it solved. So if they could do it, perhaps they could share the news on how to do it. Anyway, see, and these are the backs. These are not reversible because the triangles are in this direction, but they're very nice. I like them. I like this minimalist kind of vibe of the deck. Also, when it comes to the choice of colors, for example, there's not that many colors, and they're consistent though. See? So we got the Instant, we got the Ego, we got the Hermit, the Lemniscate with the Infinite, Wisdom, the Warrior. But this is okay, so in Italian you can actually use gender in names. So the Warrior is not, in this case, il guerriero, the male warrior, let's say, is il guerriero with the O at the end, but this is la guerriera with the A at the end, which means the female warrior. And it says the sentence here, which is really, really very intense. It says, l'unica da uccidere era la paura. The only thing you needed to kill was fear. And trust me, we've had so many conversations with all of my friends back in Europe with about the argument and the topic of fear, because there's so many societies that are using fear in order to manipulate people. We got the Daughter, we got Conscience and Lovers, the World. So many cards, Death, many cards definitely remind you of the major arcanas, but there's different cards as well. So we've got the Fool, but again, this is gender decline, gender specific for female, La Matta. We got Suicide as well. Ascension, we got the Wheel, we got Beauty, we got the Sister, the Devil, Prayer, Freedom, the Mother, the Mind, and Desire. Let's see what Desire says. Perderti, non esaudirti, e perdere anche questo. Very intense, I may say, to lose desire, not to fulfill desire, and to lose even this. It's very poetic, it's a lyrical form. Let me just see what it says, what the booklet says about this. Okay, commento alla carta, so a commentary on the card, and we got a good 3 pages. For the, I knew it was going to go to the Buddhism. So basically desire in Buddhism is the, let's say it's the one thing you have to get rid of in order to be free, because as long as desire persists in your mind, as long as you long for something, you'll never be free. You will always be chained, because all of your actions will be influenced by that desire. And it talks about that, the concept in Buddhism. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. You know, the reason why I really wanted this deck is because I had the impression that by calling it the Philosophical Arcana, there would have been a lot of references to philosophical systems, but also religion in many cases, or historical references. So I'm really looking forward to read this guidebook, because it really gives me the idea that it's going to be a very interesting read. So really excited about this. Very happy that I found it. Very unique. I haven't seen it anywhere else. To be honest with you, the first time that I see it, it was literally an unboxing, so I don't necessarily have any ideas, at least for now, on pairings for this deck. And I don't know whether I would actually use it pair up, because what do I use it for? I mean, is this an oracle? Do I use it as an oracle? Do I see it as a tarot? And in that case, what do I pair it with? With another tarot, with another oracle? I don't know, there's a couple of considerations to take, and I'm not entirely sure that I know this deck as well as I should in order to be able to take a decision. But that makes me happy, because it means that I have to spend more time with it, which I'm always happy to do when I like a deck. Really unique, I have to say. Very interesting. So this is the Arcani Philosophici. So the next deck I'm also very excited about, and don't worry, we're almost at the end of the video, but the last 3 I'm gonna go quickly through them because they're not new. This one is new, it's really new, so let me just open it quickly. Okay, so you probably know by now which deck I'm talking about. I have just received it. It is Anna Torian's latest deck. I am so very excited about this one. There's a message. Thanks so much. Thank you, Anna, because you keep on releasing these decks, which are absolutely fantastic, and I love them all so much. And this is the Tarot of Echoes. You will probably, so those of you who placed the order with Anna on the, I think it was the 16th of December, you probably already received this deck, because she's finished the first, let's say the first round of shipping. And I'm so very stoked, because I was overseas when I received the confirmation that it had been shipped, and I was still overseas when I received the confirmation that it had been delivered as well. So when I got back home this morning after 48 long hours of travel, out of which 25 in a plane, you know, these kind of things make me happy. There's no two ways around that. Tarot makes me happy. Okay, so sue me. I don't know what to say. It just makes me happy. It's my passion. I love it. So this is the Tarot of Echoes. If you know the Oracle of Echoes by Anna as well, you probably know about this tarot deck, because she's been talking about this deck. So Anna has got a really active both Facebook and Instagram, but I would say probably more Instagram page, and she shares her work on Instagram. Look at this, look at these images. And by the way, this is the same quality when it comes to the tactile feel of the Oracle of Echoes. So if you do have it, you can definitely pair them up together, because it feels more, you know, like there's more similarities when it comes to the cardstock and the quality. The colors, the everything. Oh my goodness, look at this perspective. Look at the perspective that she's chosen on the Hangman. And, you know, even the Tarot of the Abyss, which is black and white, but is absolutely gorgeous, even the perspective of the Hangman or the Hanged One in the Tower of the Abyss is gorgeous because it takes the perspective of the person that is hanging upside down, and so everything is upside down, but you don't see the person, you see through their own eyes. This deck is, oh, look at the Devil card, wow, okay, my goodness, intense, and the Tower. Love this Star card. Also very bold, if I may say, perspective. And, you know, freeing yourself from the chain. That's a really good take on the Star card. I should do a video just on, you know, different ways to interpret the Star card, because I feel like this is where an author or a creator shines. Not necessarily just on the Star card, but when there's one card that is bringing a new layer to the interpretations. For example, the Suit of Swords, which is my favorite suit, and there's no two ways around that. I've accepted that. I have accepted that the Suit of Swords is my favorite suit. Sorry. It's just that there's so much humanity in the Suit of Swords, you know, there's also in everything that goes on, but there's also hope. You know, because when you're going through something, you know you're going through something. You don't need a tarot deck to tell you. But what you need a tarot deck to tell you is that it's soon gonna be over. So when you do encounter the Ten of Swords, at least it tells you that you have reached the rock bottom. And you know, if you're going through hell, keep going, you know? That's what they say. That's a really nice Five of Swords, by the way. Interpretation of the gaslighting, but in this case it almost feels like there is this sense of having achieved something and being worried that's not matching your expectation. You have to sacrifice so much because you're on your own now. You had to sacrifice so much to achieve this crown, and all of a sudden you realize that it wasn't worth it. Wow, wow, wow. Six of Swords, card of my life, really love it. Seven of Swords, almost a bit whimsical, I should say. Eight of Swords, absolutely gorgeous. Reminds me of a lot of experience when I do swatch inks, new fountain pen inks. I do this kind of experiments. No, sorry, I said something really stupid. I don't mean to say that my doodling is anywhere near Anna's art. But I mean to say that this reminds me of sometimes I'm doing stuff that is remotely distant, remotely similar to this. That's all. That's all I meant to say. Nine of Swords, really beautiful. You can really tell the elemental energy, you know, of this card. The fact that this anxiety comes from the mind, and it looks like you know, these demons that you have in your own head. And the Ten of Swords. Love it, absolutely gorgeous. Really fantastic. And the Queen of Swords. I love the element of air that you can tell, you know, you can tell immediately what suit you're on. Of course, even in the water for cups. So it's such a nice Two of Cups that represents the key, opening up to others. You know, that's the way I read the choose anyway, from a numerological point of view. You go from the plane on the individual into the couple. Really love this deck. I knew I would have loved it anyway. I saw, and I was actually posting before she opened up the pre-orders. She posted like a flip through on her Instagram page, and I think she got most of the orders that day because everyone that saw it placed an order. It's just, you know, you have to. When you see such beauty, you have to. And I've seen it paired up with the Oracle of Echoes. I have to say, it does pair up well. But oh, look at this Five of Pentacles, it's so beautiful. And by the way, I don't know why, but it does remind me a lot of Notre Dame, and I've been to Notre Dame recently while I was in Paris, and they're still rebuilding. They were supposed to be done by beginning of 2024, but they have major delays. Love the Six of Pentacles, really gorgeous. the expression on this person, apart from the fact that, thank you, there is a little bit of age diversity, thanks Anna, but the expression of pure joy, because you're giving something and what you're receiving back is the pure joy that, you know, it gives you, being able to make someone's lives better. I love that so much. Amazing deck as always. What can I say? I love it. And I love the backs, by the way. Look at these. They're so beautiful. They're reversible. Really, really gorgeous. So this is the Tarot of Echoes by Anatorian. Okay, so the last 3 decks, here they are. So there's a bit of, okay, this one is relatively new, but let's say it's got a few months already. This one is not new, and this is actually old. This has a story. This deck has a story, a very personal story for me, very important story, with a shade of disappointment. So there used to be this store, we call them sale tabacchi. So basically it's a place where you can buy anything from cigarettes to chewing gums to tickets for the bus to tarot decks, or at least that's what it used to be back in the days, back in the 80s and early 90s in Italy. And this, let's say, tobacco store, it's not an actual tobacco store, but we do call that, you know, call it like that in Italy, exists. It's been there ever since I was born, and I have bought my fair share of decks in this shop. So one of the last days in Italy, I was walking and I saw this shop, and I reminded myself to check, you know, to see whether they had decks, and they did. They still had decks. They still sell decks there, and I was really, really happy about that, because, you know, it's just for a personal reason. It's obviously something that reminds me of a really good time when I was going there and buying decks, etc. And I decided to go in and get this deck, which is the Sibilla dell'Ottocento by Luigi Scapini, published by Dal Negro. It's supposed to be a new deck, but it's not. As you can see, the box is damaged. It's actually kept together with the tape here. There's a few scratches and tears, and I haven't even checked. It has been clearly open. I honestly haven't even checked. Well, okay, fair enough. So the cards are actually still shrink wrapped, which makes me really happy. It's just the box that it's a bit damaged, but that's what you can expect. I mean, that place has been open for decades, and perhaps this deck has been there for decades. So, you know, exposed on the window of the shop, you can expect a little bit of damage, but the cards are intact, which is the most important thing. And so I'm just gonna show you this deck. So the system, the divination system of the Sibilla is very typical Italian. It's a very straightforward kind of divination system. It does give very specific answers that don't necessarily have a lot of wiggle room. So in this way, it reminds me a lot of Keeper, more than Lenormand, because it could look like a Lenormand deck, but it's actually very similar to a Keeper interpretation. What I like about this specific publication, this release, is that you don't just have the image, the reference to the poker card, and the title and the numbers and the and that's it, well, basically. But you also have this sentence at the bottom. So for Constance here, it says: il sole premia sempre chi ha costanza, con riuscita sicura con vistosa sostanza. So translated goes, the sun always rewards the person, he who has constance, who's, let's say constance as in resilience, but also perseverance more than constance. I would say perseverance, so with secure, with safe result, and with remarkable substance. So it's actually a really good card, let's say. If you are, if you persevere in something, if you double down on your task, if you keep on working, if you focus on what you want to achieve, you know, you will be rewarded by the sun with a positive outcome, and also with a lot of substance out of that. So as you can see, these cards are very practical, and they deal almost exclusively, or I'll say exclusively, with the so below. So very, you know, minor suit, let's say, in the arcanas. But it's very interesting because this is what was actually used the most, you know, in whenever there was a request for divination, you know, years and years and decades ago. And it's still used this day because it does give you a little bit of a wider possibility of interpretation of the cards and a reading itself. But it's also because it really focuses on something very specific. So this is, you know, jealousy, for example, prison, a military, the enemy, the male enemy, the female enemy, the priest, etc. 52 subjects. Really, really happy about this deck. I do have a couple of Sibilla decks, but I did not have this one. So I'm really happy that I found the deck. But as I was saying at the beginning, when I was introducing these 3 decks, I was telling you that it was a really good thing that I found this shop again and they still had decks. But at the same time, I was slightly disappointed because what happened was that when I got inside and I bought the deck, and I told the guy, and I said, you know, I actually used to come here as a child, literally, to buy decks. And it was almost an emotional moment for me because back then my mom was still alive. And I remember actually buying a deck with her. She was still walking on top of everything. So I was probably, I would have been just 14. That would have been the very beginning, because then she started, you know, getting more and more sick. So, and the guy did not even look at me. It was just, you know, I thought at first, I thought he didn't hear me. So I was a little bit taken aback because I thought, okay, should I repeat what I just said? And then I thought to myself, you know, this is just your moment. It doesn't necessarily have to be shared by anyone else. I thought it was a good thing that I was, you know, telling him as a compliment that I've been a customer for such a long time, for decades really. But he literally didn't even look at me, and it wasn't a matter of not hearing me. He heard me because, you know, he took the deck, put the cards in, and tell me how much it was and everything, and that's it. So I don't know, I hope that it was okay, that nothing had happened. It was just grumpy for whatever reason. But I wasn't hoping for God knows what kind of conversation out of that, but at least an acknowledgement. Because if someone, you know, if I had a shop and someone came in saying, hey, I've been buying stuff from your shop for the last 36 years, I would go, wow, you know, well, thank you. Or not even thank you, but I would definitely acknowledge that. But it doesn't matter, perhaps. It was just probably distracted. I was thinking about something else. What I want to show you now is these 2 decks. Because... okay, so these are Los Scarabeo decks. This is the Dulac Tarot, and this is the Church or Cersei Tarot. And I am so very happy whenever I go to Italy to buy Los Scarabeo decks because they're so much cheaper than anywhere else. And so these decks are not prohibitive. If you buy these in Australia, they're $50, $60. This one is about $65 in a bookstore. In Italy, it's about, how much was it? 19? 18 euros? Something like that. So whenever I go to Italy, I actually buy the tuck box editions of Los Scarabeo, because it is really, you know, convenient, obviously, for me. They are so much cheaper than buying them on Amazon, and they're new most of the time. In bookstores in Italy, you will find there's the empty box. You take the empty box, you go to the checkout, and they, at the backs of the store, they have the decks, the actual cards, and they just you know, put them inside. So basically the boxes are not sealed, but the cards are. And I have to say, I never had bad experiences Not to say that, no one has ever had a better experience, but in my case, I was always lucky. I never had a better experience, that perhaps the cards were missing or damaged or something like that. I hate having to do this, but there's no other way to open this. So this is the Dulac Tarot. It's not new. You've probably seen it in other channels. It's a really beautiful deck. I love the art style and Moon Dulac. Very fairy tale centered. Really love the colors as well. Kind of a very distinct color palette, I would say. And like the John Bauer, if you have the John Bauer tarot, you will understand immediately what I mean. This is not necessarily a deck that is for intuition. It would be deceptively so, because it's not straightforward. So the Two of Cups is probably easy to recognize. The Three of Cups, you probably think, okay, the Three of Cups, but hang on a second, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. No, sorry, 8, 9. So, okay, I can definitely see the merriment and the celebration and the being together of the Three of Cups, but if I had to, normally the Three of Cups has got 3 persons. So this is curated art, obviously, and that's the reason why you don't necessarily see the scene with the exact same symbols as the RWS, although it is based on the RWS. And I just got it because I love Dulac's art style so much. It just, it makes sense to have a tarot deck of an artist that I admire so much. It's also because, as I said, instead of spending $50, $60, $65 on it, I only paid 17, 18 euros. So when something you desire is also affordable, but is also affordable compared to what you would normally spend, to me, that is definitely a no-brainer. Look at this card, the Three of Swords. Love this card. At least there's no pierced heart. Four of Swords. Let me just see quickly. The 6, yeah, makes sense. The 7. I'll probably have to read what the story is behind for this one. Really love the fact that, for example, you already see the influence of Japanism, in the cultures around the world. Absolutely love this deck. And I think this is the last one of a very long video. My apologies for that. If you're still here, I just wanted to remind you, I am giving away the Oracle Soul Mirror and the Journal Soul Mirror, published by Blue Angel by Sunshine Connolly. And I'm giving them away to my subscribers. If you want to participate to this giveaway, just let me know. You can be based anywhere worldwide, unless I cannot physically ship to your country. There are a few countries where Australia doesn't want to ship. Sorry about that, not my decision, but if you're in a country where I can ship to, and if you're 18 or older of age, sorry, I have to insist on that, unfortunately. So 18 plus. Please comment in the comments below, telling me why you would like to work with the Soul Mirror Oracle. So last but not least, as I was saying, deck of this huge unboxing is the Circe or Circe Tarot. This is a mythical deck, referring to mythology, I mean, but hopefully also a mythical deck by itself. And again, this thing, I had to bring the empty box to the counter, and when I paid for it, they gave me the cards. This is more recent. As I said before, it's about probably 3-4 months old. I've seen this deck a few times in YouTube, a few times on Instagram. It's amazing, it's gorgeous, really, really beautiful. By the way, sorry, forgot to mention, this is by Fabio Visentin and Pierluigi Serra. It's based obviously on all of the stories surrounding Circe or Circe. Oh, it's a beautiful death card. And the temperance card. And the devil. Wow. Okay. I can see that I really will enjoy this deck. So beautiful, this moon card. Wow. So the reason why, again, I didn't buy it immediately when it came out, it was the prohibited and frankly ridiculous price they sell it for here. But also because I wasn't entirely sure, if I have to be honest with you, about the theme. So of course there's so many stories related to Circe or Circe, but I just wasn't sure that they were apt to be representing tarot cards. And it would be very interesting. I don't know, I know a few, and I've also read, there's also a very interesting book. It's like a fiction experiment based on Circe's life from a couple of years ago. And I would be very interested to see how to pair up the stories of what happens, you know, with the essence and the meaning of the cards. That would be a very interesting exercise. Let me just quickly have a look at the guidebook. So we got, for example, the Three of Wands. Let's see if there's anything specific that we can read about for the Three of Wands in the guidebook. Three of Wands, Melite, the naiad daughter of the reader god Aegeus, runs with the sinuous robes revealing her bodily beauties. She climbs to the top of the hill to collect the sacred timber that she will give to the daring men about to set sail in their ships towards the distant lands of trade. These magical shrubs will protect travelers in their trade by guiding their bows out at sea along unknown and as yet untrodden routes. Keyword: discovery. Beautiful, beautiful, well done, thank you, amazing, thank you so much. I'm always so worried that we're not going to get enough information, but I have to say, this one is just in English. Shocker, this is a shocking revelation. I always expect a Lo Scarabeo deck to have a guidebook in 3 or 4 different languages, but this one is just in English. I don't know whether I got a special edition or something like that, I don't know, because I bought it in Italy. But in any case, I love that it's, you know, the guidebook actually tells you what happens in the scene of the specific card and not just the idea behind the Three of Wands, for example, in that particular case. So I'm really looking forward to use this deck, but I'm also really looking forward to go down the rabbit hole and read about all of these stories and do some more research on my own, because that's what I like to do. Queen of Swords, yeah, that's beautiful. Amazing, amazing deck. Now, this was it. If you're still there, you're a trooper. Thank you so much. I hope that the video, I hope that I was easy to understand. I feel like you know, I've been speaking French, Italian and English these all 4 weeks, and trying and understand Irish as well. So I don't know whether my English has suffered as a consequence of that, but in any case, this was my huge unboxing. As I said at the beginning, a few of these decks were so generously given to me as a gift by the creators, and I'm so very happy about being chosen for this, but also about the possibility for me to show them on my channel. Others, well, all the others were purchased by myself. And as a giveaway, I've given all the details of the giveaway in the course of this video, so don't miss out because it's a really nice giveaway. But for now, I have to say, have a great day and see you next time.